Welcome back to my playthrough, my after-action report of Rhode Island from GMT Games, part of the Battles of the American Revolution. This is part 2, and in part 1 I covered the setup and turns 1 through to 7. Now we are on turn number 8, which I have just finished. So just to give an account of what's currently happening. So the British and the German units are trying to take these two key locations here, Quaker Hill and I forget the name of this one now, Turkey Hill, of course. And it's actually the two objective hexes are this one and this one here. These just here to remind me. And both the British and the German forces are making good on this objective. They've pushed back the American forces in the entrance to the hill. The British I will be able to move up to the Quaker meeting house, next turn. So it's looking a bit dicey for the Americans on this objective. They have been pushed back. There was a step loss, so they've inflicted more casualties to the army morale track for the Americans. So the Americans it's a desperate fight, and they can maybe just hang on. But we will see. So just turn the break. So turn number 9 is next. It looks like there's a couple of special things I need to have a double check of for turn number 9. Now at the end of turn number 9, quite a few different things have happened. Thought I'd just move the camera back out just so we can see the whole board now. On the Turkey Hill here, the Germans have pushed the units back, but they're just having a last stand defense just to see if they can hold the German units here. On this side, however, though, on Quaker Hill, the British have really pushed them back, and this artillery unit, the Americans are moving right back and either going to combine with this unit here or are going to move over to the artillery redoubt over here. Haven't quite decided which is the best option for that particular unit there. So the British now, this door's now open, so the British are going to be able to take that objective in the next turn and probably push through this road here. But we've got some quite sizable, some of them are just off camera, and as we get closer to that I'll move the camera so we can see. But there's some significant units here, American units here. And the British haven't taken too many casualties, so they're still in good form. I think it's only that one that's had a casualty. But of course, the Germans really need to make good on Turkey Hill and help, so they can attack the British and the Germans to get together and can attack. Now, I was able to get for the British the correct dice roll required to bring on the last of the German reinforcements, and I had the familiar roads. There's another example of these sort of thematic cards that you can use in the game. One of the opportunity cards. It basically gave one British combat unit an extra 2 additional movement points. Technically that's 2 units, but I'm in a generous mood today, so they both have it. And very nice card. It's too nice. I think it's a photograph. Very excellent. I'm not entirely sure that they will be able to contribute anything much by the time they get up there, but they may do. In fact, I might actually move one of the units back a couple of hexes. I probably should really. I feel at the minute the British have the upper hand, certainly in terms of the morale track they do, and they are making good on taking these objectives. So the objectives will be taken. This one will definitely be taken in turn 10. This one, I think, probably will be turn 10 as well. It might even be 11, which doesn't give too many turns left for the Germans to try and take this this hex here. So if you have played this line, I'm super interested to see if I'm behind where the British were in your playthrough, or indeed ahead. So now we're at the end of turn number 10. Just finished turn 10, and the British for sure have got Quaker Hill. They were able to eliminate the last unit, and the Americans unfortunately suffered a morale as a result. However, on this side of the battlefield, the Americans have been able to, whilst suffering and had a couple of units with disrupted. They've got a lone artillery unit there, which will get captured, I would imagine, in the next turn if the British get the initiative. But what it does mean is that it's basically stopped the German units another turn from moving across that road. Now, as we've just finished turn 10, there's only 3 turns left in this game, and I'm going to predict, whilst the British have the higher morale, I think the British are going to run out of turns to take these last 2 objectives. So it's quite an interesting wargaming decision to make. Originally, the British were going to go for this objective, its key objective here, and the Germans try and take this one here. What I could do is let the British take this one, or try to, assuming that the Hessians, the Germans, are held up for another turn. Or we could just move the British hell for leather and try and just see what happens. Thematically, I feel like that's really what I should. That's probably for the narrative of the battle. It's probably what we'll do. But if you wanted to game it a little bit, you could probably divert the British units and try and take the this victory hex here. But you know, one of the advantages of playing solo is you can try these things out. You know, you're not playing against anyone. It's not competitive. It's just for the fun of playing the games and for me, for the narrative. So I think I'm going to stick with the original plan. Be interesting to see how these British fare against these really good American units, and we'll play it that way. Now we're at the end of turn 11, and the British have been able to move up to here, where they'll start to engage these American units, and the Germans sort of able to move yeah, as best they can. The British did capture a cannon, artillery, American artillery, so it's another knock to the American morale. We have 2 turns left, so I don't just the way the combat in this game works is going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for the British to take that point. The Germans could happen. To take this last point, we'll see. Now, the end of turn 12, the Germans were able to defeat the last couple of American units here, but haven't been able to move up onto attacking the artillery redoubt yet. They have 1 turn to be able to do that, but they do have naval support with a bombardment that they can utilise. The British units here have engaged with the Americans, and with some very good American dice rolling, have repulsed the British attacks. We do have a couple of stacks here that are pinned, which will hold the British attack up. So I don't, in the last turn, the Americans have just got to hold on to that line. It's an instant victory if the British get this particular objective. I don't think they will. They can certainly try. And I think this will fall. I predict the artillery redoubt will fall to the German units. But we will find out as we enter the very final turn of this scenario. The Germans were able to move these units up here, but you can see their only effective really is going to be in the last turn. If the Germans are struggling to take Turkey Hill, they could probably help with that. Although we've taken it, so they'll just be able to move up to Turkey Hill, which is already captured in control of the British forces. So the last turn next. So the final turn is now finished. How it's ended up, both the Germans were able to push the Americans off the redoubt here with a retreat, and so therefore wasn't able to take it themselves. So that has been, the Americans have lost it, but the Germans couldn't take it quite in time. And it's very sort of similar scenario with this battle at the top here between these units. British were able to inflict some retreats and disorders, but not advance as they would need to take the last, or take this objective here on that hex. Everything else is as you'd imagine it. It was good fortune for the Americans right at the end because they were able to get the initiative roll with a very lucky dice roll and a very bad dice roll for the British. So they took full advantage of that. Even with the here's the naval artillery. Even with those chits, the Germans struggled to get that last objective. Very poor dice rolling. It's almost the worst result they could have got. Well, almost the worst result they could have got. They got it. So the Americans just managed to hold on, or prevent, probably hold on to this objective here, but prevent the Germans from taking this objective here, which is a great dramatic finish to the battle. So what I'm going to do next, I'm just going to add up the victory points. The British did capture quite a lot of American artillery. I think that will, and did eliminate a few units as well. So I'm going to add up the victory points and then just do a short, finishing piece as well. So now the scenario is finished. I just titled up the victory points. It was a victory to the British. Technically, I think the American army morale was actually completely down to zeroed, which would have given an instant win to the British side. However, when I'm playing games like solo, you have the ability to try out different scenarios, and I'm looking for that sort of strong narrative of the campaign or the battle. That's why I enjoy playing the game solo. I think they would have reduced down to zero. Once I'd got in the bottom bracket, I kind of, didn't record any more losses. I wanted to see if the British could take those last two objectives, which the Americans held on to or prevented the British forces from doing so. So that was extremely satisfying to see that play out. The game, I think you could play this scenario in a long evening. It's 13 turns. If you're familiar with the game series and the rules, you could probably play it in a long evening. I've played it over 2 evenings at a very leisurely pace, which is how I like to play my Hex Encounter war games. Now the next scenario is Newport, which you get in this game as well. It's the other side of the map. It has a lot more units. I was looking through the sort of special rules for it. I have punched it. I'm not sure if I've played it when it first came out or not. I don't have any notes on it, which suggests I didn't. Or if I did, maybe I just set it up and something else came along and etc. So I'm looking forward to getting that onto the table. It is a game series I really enjoy. I am a very keen enthusiast of this period of history, and I would say, having played through the scenario, it does reaffirm to me that the game is very approachable. The rules are brilliantly written. I mean, there's absolutely no ambiguity in any of the rules that I had. And with the special rules, of which there's quite a lot for that scenario, it definitely does notch up the historical flavour and also a little bit of the complexity as well. But it's a very manageable game, very, very approachable. I am looking forward to getting the second scenario onto the table. That does look a bigger scenario, like I said. I think it's more turns. I'm going to say it's something like 20 turns. There's a lot more units, so it definitely will take me a more substantial amount of time to play through. But it's a very enjoyable game series, so I'm looking forward to that. If you have played this particular game or that particular scenario, please leave any comments in the comments section. I'm always keen to hear how the community find that scenario, who won, etc., and what were the key moments of drama. There was plenty of drama in that game for me, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It's why I enjoy playing the game solo. And thanks a lot for watching, as always, and take care. Thank you.